Assistant AD for Broadcasting and Production, George Brandon, serenades us today. A man responsible for so many things behind the scenes is now in the guest chair on Tech Drive. This is Tech Drive. I'm the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schasberger. It's year 2 for the Assistant AD for Broadcasting and Production, George Brandon, otherwise known more affectionately as GB. But vacating your post from so often being behind the camera or behind the board, that's where Jack is now. Is this weird for you?
Very much so.
Yeah?
This isn't really where I like to be.
Do you feel empty inside? Or is this going to be fulfilling?
How
are you expecting this to go? What do I need to do?
I mean, we'll make it work.
Okay.
It'll be good.
All
Apparently, this is what the people have been asking for, so we'll give it to them. But I always say I'll wear all the hats, but I won't put on the mic.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Well, I got you. We pulled a fast one on you. Everyone has been clamoring for GB to be on this set here on Tech Drive. You have a team with both Carson Frio and Jack Stribney, and this isn't a RoboCam situation. Jack is sitting there now, more on their impact coming up. But you lead the charge in all the in-house video production and content-making efforts, whether it's ESPN Plus, YouTube, anything and everything relating to the pictures put to athletic events, functions like press conferences. Where did this interest start for you? Why do this?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess you'd say the interest started with Ryan being interested in me. I mean, I was with SFA men's basketball, and this position opened up there in broadcast, and he called me on a random Thursday, said, "Hey, we're having trouble filling this, and I think you could do it. Do you have any interest in it?" I said, I need at least a weekend to think about it. And I was actually sitting with our Dobo at the time, and I hung up, and I told him, I was like, "I'm not doing that. There's no way." But I thought over it and ended up saying yes, taking it, and here we are now. But I can't say the interest was on mine alone.
Yeah, and I think we'll drill down more on this because I think your story is, and you may not believe so, but I think it's fascinating because you were a coach at one time, and that was at UW Parkside where you were getting your master's degree, and just another unique element we'll get to, the most obvious connection being Ryan Ivey, who was at Stephen F. Austin. So, there's familiarity there as you were there before coming to Tech in the summer of 2024. But we got to talk about Chicago. We got to put this off to the side and at least check that box because you graduated from Southern Illinois, but you grew up in the northwest side, which is Niles, so northwest suburb. I'm from South Howland, which is a south suburb. It's all Chicagoland, and it's all Cook County. Yeah. But I think the distance from probably Niles, and I should have done this, Niles to South Howland, it's got to be maybe an hour 15, hour 30, maybe more.
Yeah, hour and a half for sure.
And it's still the same county.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand how big Chicago is.
Yeah, it's different, especially down here. Yeah. It's much different.
It's incredible. We know we both love the Bears, but I don't know if I asked you White Sox or Cubs.
Cubs fan, through and through.
All right, good. What do you miss most about Chicagoland?
Probably say family. My mom and sister live in Atlanta now, but the rest of my family, my grandparents and all of them, they're still up in Chicago. So I definitely say that. Second would probably just be the food, the variety for sure, and just being able to get a little bit of everything no matter where you're at.
Do I need to allow you the forum to talk about pizza and set the record straight, or have we had enough of that on this program?
I mean, I don't remember your take on where you go for pizza.
Well, everybody
guy here.
Well, everybody thinks we're all about deep dish.
True. That's what. Yep.
That's the problem. Like it's not. We don't identify with deep dish.
Once in a while is cool. Yeah. I'd say, but
we could talk about this here because they're a proud partner. Okay, Louisiana Tech sports properties and athletic events and everything here at Louisiana Tech. But Johnny's Pizza House is a pretty good comparison because they'll cut it. It's not true squares, but it's rectangles and it's thin crust.
It's a little longer than the usual,
but it's important. Yeah. The deep dish thing is more of a novelty. So, and GB,
tourist attraction.
You recognize that. And Rotolo's Craft and Crust also does a great spin on their tavern style, their square cut, their bar pizzas, we call it. You get the deep dish and other things.
Calzones are solid too.
They are. Nice. They are. Rotolo, you were at Rotolo's here recently for one of the coaches' shows. I appreciate you coming by for that. Let's reverse engineer the career stops. The obvious connecting thread, as I brought up, is Ryan Ivey, Vice President, Director of Athletics here at Tech. He became the AD in the spring in 2024.
Yep.
You came over in the summer. Really, it was the end of February for Ryan. Was this like, how did it come to fruition? Did he come to you and hand pick you? I mean, lay it out.
Yeah. So he took, and it's probably 5 months between him getting here and me getting here, and it felt like forever. But he took the job, and funny enough, the day it got announced public would have been a Friday, and the next Saturday he was an officiant at a wedding that we were all at in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
So we head up to Nashville. I left Friday. He got there Saturday, and we're just hanging out after the ceremony. He's like, yeah, I just went and visited with them. It's like, they don't have a broadcast department. He's like, they're not streaming. At the time, they weren't streaming any baseball games here. He's like, yeah, they're going to miss X number of games. I was like, Ryan, I do this. He's like, that's what I told him. He's like, I got a guy. And so throughout the process, he managed to get a position created and open the doors for us. But, yeah, he got here in February, and then I started August 1st. So it was 5 months of just hoping this thing comes to pan out, and it did.
So it was a wedding in Nashville where really the conversation
because
started.
it was all prior to that. It was all jokes. Like, I'm going with him. He's
Yeah.
gonna bring me with. I didn't really know what it looked like on this side, and then he gets to the wedding Saturday. He was like, they don't have a broadcast department.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm a broadcast department, and he's like, yeah, that's what I told him. And then it happened to work out. It was a big test of patience and faith, though, just waiting it out, because we were probably in the middle of baseball season at SFA at that point. So you just keep clicking away and doing what you got to do, and just kept calling him every month and a half. Like, hey, how's it look over there? He's like, oh, it's great. We're working on it. We're working on it. And then,
well, what was it that excited you so much about what that could become? Was it continuing to work with Ryan, knowing the way Ryan was at SFA?
I'd say that's probably one of them, maybe the biggest one. And then the second part was, like you mentioned, Jack and Carson, but the opportunity to build a staff.
Yeah.
At SFA, it was me and then all of our student workers, and we got the job done there. But the opportunity to have a staff, have a bigger department, one to lead, an opportunity to grow in that asset, but really just have staff behind you to help get the job done.
Wally Crittenden was also there for a time, right?
Yeah,
like that SFA pipeline, that's strong.
He left, I guess, in May. He got here just in time. And Wally was kind of the other side. He got here and he's sending pictures back. He's like, oh, it's awesome here. I was like, come get me. Come get me. Like, I want to experience it too. But I think he got here during the baseball conference tournament.
Okay.
And so he was sending pics back. He's like, oh, it's great here. It's great. And I was like, I hope I get to taste it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all worked out.
Well, we had Wally on Tech Drive, gosh, I guess a couple months ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it is, Senior Associate AD for Championship Resources. So Ryan Ivey comes, Wally follows, and now George Brandon is here in year number 2. How did that experience at Stephen F. prepare you for the role here?
I'd say in the simplest terms, it taught me how to do a broadcast. I mean, prior to that, I didn't have any. Well, I guess I could break it in 2 ways. I look at my SFA time in 2 stints, the basketball side, and then broadcast. With broadcast, it was really just learning how all this works. Like, outside of a camera, I didn't really know how to operate much in the broadcast space. So just getting familiar with all the terms and the jargon and how to make a production look well. And then on the basketball side, I'd just say just how to work. I mean, just coaching basketball, at least competitively at the D1 level, it's hard. It's just a lot of work day in and day out, showing up and putting in the time and effort to get where you need to get to.
Yeah, because you were a video coordinator first. That was 21 to 22, and that's with men's basketball. So you're responsible for creating, presenting practice, game film for team and staff. You even did some recruiting and staffing and leading the student managers and interns. So like something that you were doing then at the director of broadcast media side and working with all these student workers and managing a staff, but not a staff like you have in Jack and Carson, but you're doing some sports admin things as well as the director of broadcast media. So yeah, to your point off the top, like you're wearing all these different hats, doing all these different things. I mean, the recruiting stuff is probably the most fascinating to me. Like you're actually helping to assist in identifying talent also.
Yeah. So the recruiting at SFA was unique. Well, it was at least unique to me because it was new, but I basically got to help the staff identify who they needed to watch. So I'd break down, and anything about AAU, you're just watching all the games. So I was stripping all the film, highlighting if the players that the coaches were thinking about played well, didn't play well, and if they played well, cutting up the tapes and getting it back to them. And I actually managed to get out on a recruiting trip once. They sent me out to New Orleans, which go figure now, we're a little bit closer now. But yeah, it was a good experience for sure.
The sports administrator aspect, baseball and women's bowling, what was that like?
Yeah, so that's really a little bit, I'm sure we'll talk about it down, but that's a little bit of Ryan and just his innovation and trying to continue to foster leadership opportunity for people under him. So he kind of opened that up for, and go figure, it was right before he left, so it didn't really pan out too much. I did get to tag along with with bowling to their conference tournament, which was also in New Orleans, and them being a part of CUSA, it was a CUSA conference tournament, so it was kind of like a, can't call it full circle, but it was a little taste. I was like, I'm at the CUSA. I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
I'm almost there. And La Tech, and you've been, to be honest, I haven't mentioned this till now, but kind of been slacking on the Matt Nantis drops. But I got to meet Matt Nantis for the first time at that tournament, and kind of, he didn't know anything, but I was like, we're going to work together soon.
Yeah.
Just in the back of my head. But yeah, it's kind of, those were, and I was secondary on both of those. For baseball, I was secondary behind Wally. And you know anything about Wally, once he gets a task, he's running with it. So I didn't ever catch up to Wally to get involved with baseball. But bowling, I got to help out with them, make sure everything on that road trip went smooth. And yeah, it was and then Ryan left, so then it kind of fizzled out. But it was a fun experience for sure.
We are slacking on the Matt Nantis drops. I take full responsibility. I think I made that comment a month ago or so, and I don't know if he's emerged or reared his head, at least in name, into our podcast. So it's good we can give Matt Nantis some shine. We owe him a lot.
Yeah,
you know, he's probably feeling hurt. You know, a little neglected.
He's got 2 Stephen F. players too.
He does.
The pipeline's so
gosh, SFA. That model with the sports administrator. I mean, you and Kavanaugh and others here would know much more than me, but that's consistent with what Ryan was implementing at Stephen F. Austin.
Yep.
And then that's something that is in place here, but your role, it doesn't include that now in handling the video and the broadcasting and the production, but that's just another kind of indicator or data point of Ryan leaving SFA, coming to his first FBS gig,
yep,
and taking some things that he did successfully and implementing them here. What have you seen from Ryan in year 2 now here at Louisiana Tech, working closely with him at Stephen F. Austin previously? How have you seen him evolve or continue to innovate, modernize, and the successes that he's had? How would you measure him so far?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me that stands out is he lets all of the people under him do their job. And so kind of like the sport admin gig, you get your sport assignments and he lets you facilitate the best way that it needs to happen. And should he need to get involved, you come to him. But otherwise, you just keep plugging away. And as long as we know the same mission and the same goal, we just keep plugging away. So I think that's been the best part, and definitely the most enjoyable to work under him, because he trusts you to do your job.
Yeah.
And you're not worried about if he thinks I'm going to do something wrong and trying to double check me before or after. But he just lets you keep plugging away. And if there is something that he needs to address, he shoots it to you, and then you just keep rolling.
And he keeps it real.
Yeah,
that's one thing I love about him.
Candor, and the candor is 100% appreciated, because you know if it was good or bad, and if adjustments need to be made.
Yeah, he's very transparent, very accessible, very present. I certainly have loved that in my 3+ months of being here. At what moment? Let's go back to your career now and this evolution from a guy that was coaching and working on video, with teams, and now your career has taken this turn for the better, right?
Yep.
In terms of your current role. But at what point did you feel the broadcast side, some of these admin duties, logistics side, working directly with programs, you had that influence, you're doing all these different things. I've been told this before, in my career, you got to kind of pick,
sure,
or, not that you don't want to be versatile, but like, what is it that you most want to lean into, and what turn do you most want to take for your career? When was it that you decided, hey, I want to embrace, the video side of things?
Yeah. In terms of that and the sport admin relation, I'd probably say, because I only sought the sport admin in hopes of gaining leadership experience. And so, again, with the staff here and having Jack and Carson and helping get them up to speed and get them ready to take over their own department one day, that's kind of where it shifted in terms of where my leadership opportunities would come from. And the other part of it, just our staff here is much bigger than what we had at SFA. So just realizing it would take time to get to that point. I don't even think Wally has a sport here. Wally would have had 2 sports at SFA. So it was a shift there, knowing that the staff was already in place outside of us 3. And I guess Lindsay joined us too. But everyone had their sports, and it was kind of just pivoting and taking that leadership into our own department and trying to grow it that way.
Well, was it understanding too, like, hey, there's a need here at Louisiana Tech. Ryan's here, on the video production and, knowing what the ESPN Plus thing can mean, and we'll get more into that and what, the expectations are in terms of continuing to grow that operation. But it was like, hey, I love the idea of managing, of running points, of collaborating with other parts of athletics. If I have the ability to have a couple of guys under me, and we can grow something and start something new, and it includes the video side, like I've already been learning that now. Like, I like that. I like that idea. So if I have the team and support around me, and I can continue to be a leader.
Yeah, that absolutely. And because that was the first thing that mentioned when he even proposed the idea. He's like, I think I can get a staff. I said, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because we were doing at SFA. I don't know the number, but we didn't miss a game unless there was a volleyball game during a football game, or soccer during basketball, and you had to pick 1 or 2. We didn't miss a game, and it was just me and a bunch of gung-ho college students just pointing cameras and following the ball down the field.
Yeah.
So the opportunity to have a staff, 1, it obviously lightens the workload, but 2, the opportunity to develop my leadership skills and help other people reach their goals too.
Carson and Jack. So Carson Frio and Jack Stribney.
Yep.
You hired them. How did that process work?
Yep. So funny enough, so Carson had applied to Tech before I had applied to Tech. Go back to your hand-pick thing. Like, there was a bunch of people applying for the job, and thankfully Ryan held true and dug through and pulled me out. But we called Carson back, and then I went through. Carson was basically like, hey, this guy stood out, give him a call and see if you like him. And he checked all the boxes, so we went with him. And then Jack stood out as well throughout the whole process. But yeah, I probably called, and I was, again, to experience, that was my first time hiring outside of student workers that are trying to get $8.75 an hour. Everyone's saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time interviewing anyone. So that process in itself was pretty cool. But yeah, I picked Carson and Jack, and definitely pleased with our picks for sure.
And they're both associate directors of broadcasting. That's their title. You're a 3-person team that you lead up, including yourself. I would imagine your time at UW Parkside, scouting, film review, on the lowest level of coaching, college basketball, assisting in so much instructional type things, but, again, grinding over the smallest of details, the logistics, the travel, the meal plans, all of that. Those little pieces, like, there's some parallels that help you when you're coming into this role. Even Stephen F. Austin followed, but now you're here at Tech. But those sort of things, I would assume, even though it was your first time hiring, the identification of certain traits in individuals and who might work for the greater good of what you all are building here, like experience like you had at UW Parkside as an assistant, as a graduate assistant coach, paid off.
Yeah, no doubt. And the interesting part at Parkside, so I was there for my whole master's, so 2 years. My first year we had probably a staff of 5, head coach, assistant coach, and 2 volunteers. And then the summer after, or the spring after my first season, is when COVID hit. And during COVID, our top assistant took another job. One of our volunteers just wasn't fooling with the COVID deal, and he took a step back. And then our 3rd volunteer took a high school job. So we go into the second year, it was just me and my head coach. And he basically hands me this big, and he's an old school guy too, Luke Regal. My first year has been his 20th year as head coach. He basically just hands me this Dobo binder. He's like, I need you to plan our buses. And it was the same thing. It was like, I've never called for a bus.
Yeah.
I just bring the food to the bus. But so then I started calling hotels, calling buses. It's kind of just the adaptability and being able to adjust on the fly. Because, that second year was just me and coach, and we were just plugging away.
That's incredible. A GA, basketball coach at UW Parkside, to, video coordinator at SFA, to director of broadcast media, and now, an assistant, VP, director of broadcasting and production, here at Louisiana Tech. It's a very unique, career arc.
For sure.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
I've
awesome.
only met, and the cool part in college athletics in general, but in the broadcast, meeting people in the field and just networking along. I've only met one other guy. The guy that runs a department at North Texas, he kind of had the same thing. He was a GA, I want to say at UTEP, maybe a school closer. He was in Texas, and then a position opened and he took it, and it kind of has the same trajectory. But other than that, I'd say it's pretty unique for sure.
Let's focus on the responsibilities here at Tech and what is being built here on the broadcast and video production side. What's been the most rewarding aspect of your job thus far?
I'd probably just say knowing that we're for the fans, we're providing what hasn't been provided before, and fans have access to see all the games. We haven't missed a game since we took over, and it's just the consistency and knowing that we're providing them what has been lacking before, and then also just knowing, back to Ryan and his trust, just knowing we're delivering on what he knew was possible from us.
What's been the most challenging part? Can't be easy, man. You're building some pretty much from scratch. I mean, It's only this past summer that we had the announcement that we're fully implementing everything in-house, unless it's, a national football crew like CBS Sports Network or ESPNU's coming in. But still, I would imagine there's some collaboration there.
No doubt. And there's always challenges. And I think, at least personally, that's one of the parts that make it exciting. Like, if it was all easy, I'd probably get bored rather quickly. But I'd probably say year one was just learning the equipment. 'Cause, I mean, here, from SFA to here, there's probably one machine that was the same. So it was learning all of the gear all over again, learning where stuff is. And in terms of, this may be deep in the weeds, but the way fiber and all the cables are run is obviously way different at Tech versus SFA, just being different campuses altogether. And then I'd say year two is probably most challenging would be, going back to leadership, just delegating and helping Jack and Carson, one, get some workload and let them get a piece of it, and then two, helping guide them along the way. At SFA, I picked my own schedule and I showed up and was there till it was done, and the students helped when they could. But now it's stepping back and allowing them to have their space and have their work and build up their own projects.
Yeah, you get to empower your guys around you, kind of like a CEO type role.
Sure.
Not quite the $54 million buyout money that's out there for college football coaches or 8-figure salaries, but it all means the same to us. It's important, you care about it, and you got two guys that you can delegate things to. Do you feel Jack and Carson have passed the test to this point?
To this point, we have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing well.
We're doing well. Take us behind the curtain on the production of, let's just talk maybe like a football game, for example. 3 of the first 4 were at home this year, and they're all in-house, right, with Malcolm and with Luke McCown, in the booth. There's so many moving parts, though, at play, to navigate. You got the camera operators, you got the sideline, graphic packaging, the truck, and so much more. And student workers are a big part of that.
Yeah. That would be, we did, so our first home game this year would have been a contracted out game.
Okay.
And then Ryan and all the folks get paid way more than us decided to and save some money, and they put some more trust in us. So we did the next 2 home games. So that would have been New Mexico State and Southern Miss were our first 2 in-house. And you talk about challenge, so we probably got that call a week and a half out of New Mexico State. So we had about 9 days to prep for that and get football up. But yeah, to your point, and Malcolm and Luke, and to your point, like the talent was the consistent. So Malcolm and Luke were able to handle their part. But yeah, we had graphics, make sure our graphics matched up with them. I went with Malcolm and Luke to the football production meeting with Sonny and both OC and DC coordinators, make sure our storytelling was in line with what they were expecting, getting student workers committed to the game, showing up ahead of time to get it all. And once the game starts, it's really just making sure everything that we prepared is ready to go and getting it shown on air.
And that's right. Those first, it was New Mexico State that was really first truly
that was
in-house.
our first, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And the student worker, you got to train them. You got to get them up to speed.
Yeah. So I guess I could have lumped that in with the challenging part. At SFA, we were lucky. At SFA, there was a broadcasting major. So all of my student workers came. My first 4 months, I was learning from my student workers. There was one time I'm rolling the cable, and the kid grabs the cable in my hand. She's like, "You don't roll it that way." I said, "Well, you roll the cable. I don't." this is how I know how to roll it. And then they were teaching me as we went through. And then now it's reversed, and now I'm giving back. And because one of our best camera operators right now is in school to become a pilot. Like he's asking. So we're teaching them from nothing how to work a camera and what all the buttons on the camera does. And now that we've managed to get up to, I think we're at between 18 and 20 student workers in our pool. So now we can typically we just try to get enough for the cameras. But we've surpassed that now. So now we're trying to get students acclimated in the control room. So now we have students that can run graphics or students that can run replay. And that allows me, Jack, and Carson to kind of diversify our time and move around a little bit more.
And those cameras, if you're watching on ESPN Plus, or some of the things you see on La Tech Live, La Tech Athletics on YouTube, which I'll give you an opportunity to talk about too, on kind of all the different content offerings, including Tech Drive, that is now there on YouTube for you to see in video. You might see some Patents related wear. Okay, you've got Patents downtown, you've got Patents Western wear. I mean, everybody decked out in all their finest, Bulldog and Lady Texters gear, uniquely designed, officially licensed. Apparel options at both Patents downtown in Ruston, but two, you've got everything else at Patents Western wear that allows you to enjoy brands for everyday life, the job, game days, any occasion, including the outdoorsman in you. Heading to work, out of town, or the big game, look your best at Patents Western wear and Patents downtown. The familiarity of having talent, GB, like Malcolm, who has been a part of this university for so long, quarter century, right? At least 25 plus years. And Kyle Roberts, who has been, such a fixture with women's basketball, over the last recent stretch. And Teddy Allen, Teddy Legend, who is an animal in his own rights, and certainly a unicorn and unique resident funny guy that everybody knows and is so endearing in a multitude of different ways. How important is it to have some familiarity in the voices for the ESPN Plus in-house production?
Yeah, no, it helps a lot. Because, I mean, you talk about the CBS trucks and the professional levels. Like, that's just a collection of 20 to 30 individuals getting hired to work the game. They all shake hands pregame, say, my name is, and then they get to work. But knowing that you have Malcolm, Kyle, and Teddy, and they know what tech is all about, especially when we're the new guys, we can have all these ideas, and they can help us fine comb it and say, hey, this wouldn't really go over well, or hey, we need to definitely hit on this. Definitely helps, especially you talk about Malcolm and just his tenure here and how long he's been here. It's been a great help knowing we can rely on it. And it also helps just we can call these guys, like they're right here, they can pop in our office and we can meet consistently if we need to get stuff in line so that we're on the same page come game time, versus meeting Malcolm a day before the game and trying to get everything in order one day out.
Right. Yeah, that strategic decision by the university to bring and implement all the in-house, ESPN Plus things across an entire, year with football and starting with football and New Mexico State game, and then all of the other events from volleyball to women's soccer. We have basketball that's underway in November, which just creates a whole other monster. Happy crossover season to you, by the way. How's your mental health?
It's all good, man. Okay. I mean, this is a part of it, and every school is go through it and you handle it differently, but this is fun. This is, like I said, if it's not challenge, I kind of fade out of it a little bit, but knowing there's a challenge and knowing there's something that you're planning for, but planning is just step one. Now it's time to actually put it into play.
Yeah, no, planning is everything. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail.
Yep.
So, this is part of the beast. And, these kind of opportunities, and that's what I look at it as in November or in February into March when you're dealing with basketball and into baseball and softball. Like, this is where you really get to flex your muscles, and you get to prove your worth and test your mettle for who you are and your vision. You get to implement and get to see your guys and gals, live their best life doing, a variety of different events all at one time, seemingly. So managing all of that is critical. And at the same time, we have things like La Tech Live on YouTube. So explain what that entity has provided. Again, I mentioned the podcast, but outside of the live events, the real competition, any of the sports that we are broadcasting and putting video under, there's a lot of other things that include, press conferences and others.
Yeah, so and I remember back when I got here and just meeting with Kyle Cavanaugh on what we had going on here and what the vision was going forward. He just always referred to YouTube as this sort of a graveyard. Like, there was this inactive page we had and just what the visions were to get it up and running. And so the live part And obviously, like June and his crew, they upload all their content there too, so fans can get that. But the La Tech Live allows us to, like I said, the press conferences. So at the end of every game, we're interviewing our coaching staff and allowing them to speak, and we do that live on the YouTube with their specific channels, and then our podcast here. And it just allows us to, one, continue to do what we do and get stuff live and get it out to our fans, but it also allows coaches to keep telling their story throughout the seasons.
Yeah, and Kyle Cavanaugh, Senior Associate AD, External Affairs, Chief Branding Officer, he's a big responsible party, certainly behind this podcast, Tech Drive, but everything on YouTube as well, and us trying to continue to move the bus forward from a creative control with content, which, YouTube continues to provide us that. The collaboration, not just with Cav and athletics, but the creative team with June Lee and his staff within the university, and housing all of that is so critical. And it can create additional, new revenue opportunities too.
Yeah.
Which is so important. Just enhancing the entire, storytelling operation is, that's what we're in this for. That's what I am, a storyteller. And I know as much as you didn't want to be on this podcast today, here we are telling your story. So I'm just, extracting it out of you. Hopefully it doesn't feel like a dental chair. How many events to this point? Do we know this year how many events we've done?
We're probably sitting, as we're sitting here now.
So yeah, ballpark it.
Yeah.
Because there were 99 last year is what I'd read, which was third in Conference USA.
Yep.
And that was a late start, right?
Yeah,
that was February or March.
That number stings because, one half of that is shared with the third party entity because we didn't start until baseball, softball season last year.
Mm-hmm.
But, and that last fall, we didn't cover all of the games. It's like that number in itself. I don't remember where it lies, but I think we for sure get to second. If everything lined up the same way, we'd be second for sure.
Who's first? Liberty? Who's doing the most events?
I want to say it was FIU.
FIU?
Yeah.
FIU.
And again, so then just within our department, like we set goals in the beginning of the year, and number of streams was one of them. Like one of our goals. The goal that comes right before that though is consistently high quality.
Yeah.
Like you could put up every stream and it'd be two cameras that don't even know what they're following. So you want to have quality, but then you want to obviously keep it up at the top of the conference as well.
No, I understand. I've been a part of a lot of single cam broadcasts, throughout my broadcast career. That's not the most glamorous. Sometimes it's just necessary, but I get that. Is there anything you can share, and we're wrapping up, just a couple more minutes, about how the Sunbelt news, whether that's July 2026 or July 2027, but what additional opportunities or how might things continue to evolve in the way your team and this university functions from a content standpoint? How might that be impacted in video and production? I would assume it means nothing but good things when you're jumping and elevating yourself to a new conference. But that can create more daunting, I guess, expectations or challenges.
No doubt. I know the expectations that come with it because I just think back to the announcement, and in terms of what we do, that announcement live stream was the same as every other live stream, but the amount of check-ins I got ahead of that one, making sure everything was squared, just because everyone knew the magnitude of the announcement. So I do know that would come with it, and just making sure we're prepared to continue to present the brand at the right way, especially with all these renewed rivalries coming back, and now we have more visitors visiting schools that would be tuning in and comparing and see what we're doing here. So it's just turning on another bright light, I guess. Just keep doing what we're doing and putting us in the best spot to be seen and viewed by both parties.
Yeah. Well, the sun continues to shine on the Bulldogs and Lady Texters. And, what did Michael Jordan say? You're Bulls guy, right?
I am.
He said the ceiling is the roof. I don't know if that's accurate. That is what he said at a North Carolina function. I mean, he got ripped apart for it.
Yeah, I don't know what he meant there.
Yeah, no, it was a slip of the tongue. What I'm saying is it's limitless, okay?
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless where the video production, all aspects of it can go here at Tech. Anything else you want to share about yourself, about the job, about the team? You love Ruston?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been nice. I like living here. I enjoy the small town more than the city guy in me wants to admit, but it's been good. The community's good. You can walk around with this polo on and everyone wants to talk about it and see what you got going on. So yeah, I've enjoyed it for sure.
I agree, man. Chicago and me would agree. I couldn't say it any better than that. GB, I appreciate you stopping by Tech Drive today.
No doubt.
Hopefully you had fun, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go edit this podcast.
Yeah, he's going to go edit his own podcast. That's beautiful. He's GB, George Brandon, the assistant AD for broadcasting and production. For Jack Stribney, Carson Frio, Kyle Cavanaugh, I am the voice of the Bulldogs, Kyle Schasberger. Thank you again for tuning in and consuming this Tech Drive podcast, La Tech Athletics, on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is you get your audio podcast. Thank you so much. Continue to enjoy November. Happy holidays, everyone. It's a great time of the year. This has been Tech Drive.